it take to fill that glass in your hand? Join us on an Ag Stories journey exploring the connections between agriculture and you. Our sponsors are Ag Enterprise Supply, located in Cheney, supplying everything producers need to get the highest yield out of their crops. And State Bank Northwest, founded in Garfield, now headquartered in Spokane. State Bank Northwest offers full-service banking on a first-name basis. In this episode, what does a Palouse wheat field have to do with distilling whiskey in Spokane? Seen from the air, the Palouse Hills look much like giant sand dunes because they were formed in the same way. Dust and silt creating a rich and productive soil were deposited by the wind over tens of thousands of years. Glaciers created the dust, and the dried-up remains of ancient Lake Missoula provided the silt. From the lush greens of spring and early summer to the ripe golden grains at harvest, soon to be dusted with snow for the winter, they are a magnificent landscape. And now they are one of the most productive wheat and pulse-growing regions in the world. So we came out here to Wisota Farms, and I'm meeting today with Mitch Engel. Wisota Farms is one of the suppliers of product directly to Dry Fly Distilling, and I wanted to have Mitch tell us a little bit about the place that we're standing on. You said you grew up in the house over here.
Yeah, we grew up in the house, or I did. Of course, actually what happened is my great-grandpa showed up here in 1905, and then his sons, I guess it'd be my grandpa, and his brothers built the barn. That was an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
barn first.
Oh, absolutely. That was 1905, and then they built a house in 1908. And so, you know, Grandpa was here. He farmed, and my dad Daryl, he was here, and then me, and then my son Lucas.
And so he's interested in carrying it on?
Oh yeah, he just got out of college a year ago, so. And he said, well, Dad, I kind of really want to farm. We have a farm, so why wouldn't I want to farm? Okay. So it's been good. We have fun together.
Huh. So what are you doing that's maybe the same as what your great grandpa did, and what are you doing that's different?
Oh, it's a lot. It's all different, of course, but I mean, it's the same dirt. A lot of it is. So I don't know. I'm just glad he enjoyed farming. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. You know, he could have sold out. And my grandpa could have. And my dad, you know, he could have. So Luke says I can't. So.
What part of the year do you like the best?
Winter.
When you get to kick back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you have to work on the farm, which season of the growing cycle do you like the best?
Oh. I kind of like fall, actually, just because you have more time to get stuff done. You know, spring work, you got to get over, you know, a fair amount of acres in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. And you got to deal with weather and that kind of stuff. In the fall, or harvest is the same. You know, you got to get it done when the sun's shining. And in the fall, you got a little more time to get stuff done.
Yeah, catch up on the to-do lists.
Yeah, a couple months in the fall. I like to be done by November 1st. That's a cutoff date.
Yeah.
So,
international supply chains matter for both buyers and sellers. With 90% of Washington's wheat destined for export, it matters a lot. Export markets vary depending on when and where the rains come in the U.S., Australia, Canada, and other wheat-producing regions. Having a local market for a portion of their wheat crop helps diversify sources of income for Palouse producers. Dry Fly Distilling is committed to sourcing their raw materials from local farms. Dry Fly is a farm-to-bottle or grain-to-glass producer, working with family farms located within 30 miles of their distillery, like Wisota Farms, operated by the Engel family for over 100 years, just 8 miles east of Rosalia, Washington. So tell me a little bit about how you decided to start Dry Fly.
Wow, that's a great question. I think it was the ultimate result of corporate burnout. So I was a longtime corporate guy, and when that part of my life was over, I decided to stay around Spokane. So I had to create something here, and there was no way I was going to replace what I had being a corporate guy. So I had to come up with something new, and this is what happened.
Okay. Now, we're doing the whole farm-to-table thing, or in your case, farm-to-bottle.
Yep.
And I don't associate wheat with vodka. Is that a long-standing ingredient for vodka?
Of course, yeah. So, I mean, ultimately in the world of vodka, it is a question of what raw material is closest to you. The last thing you want to do is move grain. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Or raw material. So vodka in our country is really a definition of purity of distillation. So vodka in the United States has to be distilled to 190 proof. That's 95% pure alcohol. What the source of that is doesn't matter.
Okay.
Now, each one of those will taste different.
Right.
But we think
Makes
that
sense.
we're using grain stock that was developed at WSU in the 1940s, and it represents our area very well.
So is it a soft white?
Soft white
hard
winter
red?
wheat, yep.
Soft white winter
Yep.
wheat.
Yeah, we use Madsen as our varietal, and again, that was developed really to grow it here in the inland Northwest.
Well, that's a coincidence since that's my name.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
So that variety of grain has existed a long time, and it's one of those grain varieties. Typically, there's a cycle to grain, and it only goes so long, and then it becomes susceptible to certain things.
Mhm.
And in this particular case, that grain keeps fighting back. So it's one of the few varieties that's had kind of the shelf life that it's had. So it's still pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, how did you connect with Wisota Farms?
We initially, when we started, we purchased our grain from a co-op. And I started doing meetings with farmers to learn more about farming. And ultimately, what came out of those meetings is you need to buy from a single source farm. And the reason is it just keeps you consistent. A co-op is pulling grain from a very large geographic area, and it's not necessarily consistent all the time. If moisture content changes, that means my whole processing changes as well. So pull from a single farmer, single piece of land, on basically kind of out of a single silo keeps us more consistent all the time.
I'm looking at all the stuff that's bottled, and I was wondering where do you get the bottles? Do you have a buyback program, or you?
No, that's actually an interesting story. We used to get bottles out of China, and then we were hit with a 250% tariff on Chinese glass, and that pretty much got us out of that business. So currently they're being done in Wisconsin, believe it or not. So small little glass manufacturer. Glass is a very hard thing for us because we're, even though we may buy 200,000 bottles a year, that is nothing in the world of glass. It is inconsequential volume. So we have a proprietary mold. So finding someone who can do that was a very difficult thing for us to do.
What have been some other challenges with getting your product into market?
That's been probably the biggest challenge is packaging. It always is, no matter what the product is. I mean, packaging accounts for more than the raw material costs do. So managing packaging is the hardest thing for sure for us.
I noticed you have other things besides just the vodka and the whiskey. You've got some can. Today was your canning day.
Yeah, we started that last August. That has blown up. We're currently doing 5,000 or 6,000 cases of cans a month now. That kind of is a 0 to 100 program for sure.
When you said last August, did you mean like last month?
No, a year ago.
Okay.
It's still to create that much volume that quickly is pretty crazy.
One of them I noticed was huckleberry lemonade. Is that huckleberries are a local?
They do. They come out of North Idaho, actually.
Wow.
So we use actually a processor in Boise that does that, and there's a whole huckleberry market, and it's a very interesting thing. I think this year we're buying 300 gallons worth of huckleberries, which is close to $25,000 worth of huckleberries. So it's a big thing.
Thank you again to our sponsors for making this farm to bottle journey possible, exploring the connections between agriculture and you. Ag Enterprise Supply, located in Cheney, supplying everything you need to get the highest yields out of your crops, and State Bank Northwest, founded in Garfield and now headquartered in Spokane. State Bank Northwest offers full-service banking on a first-name basis.